FM. Follow us on social media at High Impact 102.1 FM or call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
The business terrain can be tough, challenging, and murky. You need to be armed with superior intelligence, resilience, and knowledge to be able to triumph. Do you desire to thrive in business and become a reference point? Then join us every Monday on High Impact Radio 102.1 FM for TLIG, the Land is Green Business Show. Showtime is on Monday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mopolu Shade, Shonaike, and Kehinde Ajose are your hosts. It promises to be educated, empowering, and thought-provoking.
Good morning and welcome to your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. It is time for the newspaper review. My name is Esther Kalu, and if you're just tuning in for the first time, I don't do this by myself. Onyipriye Krumale is here with me. Good morning, Krumale.
Good morning, Esther. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigerians. And it's a Wednesday morning, 29th of March 2023.
Yes,
of course, politics still dominates the front pages of newspapers. And when I saw the suspension, are you heads for court as PDP appoints acting chair? I think when I saw that story, okay, fine. This is coming. This is rather belated, though. Yes.
But that's not all we have on the paper this morning. And I'm looking at the papers and also inside the papers, not just the front page. Orji Uzor Kalu making a move for the Senate president is also a heated conversation as we speak. A lot of people are reacting to that. There's a fire incident that happened on Lagos Island yesterday. Sadly, a life was lost. That's what I meant to say. And a whole lot also about the cash circulation. So now the conversation has moved to availability of notes, to observation of what kind of notes are in circulation. But that's not all we'll be doing on the newspaper review today. We will be reviewing the Punch, the Guardian, the Vanguard, and Daily Trust newspapers. So you can let us know your top story from any of these papers. Give us your headline and let's talk about it. When the phone lines are open, you would definitely reach out to us. We'll take a break now, and when we come back, the newspaper review starts. Just stay with us.
Looking for an avenue to blast your brand? Why not let us be your detonator at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM with Got You Covered. For advert placement, sponsorship, partnership, call us on 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, 0902 745 3931. or send an email to info@highimpactstudio.com.
Welcome back to the newspaper review on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. Yes, we said earlier that we're going to be reviewing headlines from the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian, and the Daily Trust newspaper, and subsequently our guest will join us. You can send a message ahead if you want to, pass that across to our guest. 0907 224 5018. That's the WhatsApp number. Are you still having issues with withdrawing cash? You can also call us and let us know. 0700 1021 1021. 1021. But let me ask Rumale that question. Are you still having issues? It seems like the cash crunch has subsidized, has ended or sort of, has eased off.
Well, it eased, but it hasn't stopped yet because even on my way to work this morning, I saw lots of people in front of ATMs and the ATM machines trying to withdraw cash. And equally, yesterday we talked about this and we realized that yes, the money out there, though it has eased, but Nigerians are still flooding the banks to get cash, most especially because at the moment there is a restricted amount of money that you can withdraw from the ATMs and that you can equally take over the counter. It's about 10,000 naira. Some banks give 20,000 naira. We knew previously that the Apex Bank, the CBN, said they can go ahead. People can withdraw as much as 500,000 naira. But the banks came up and said at the moment the cash stability, the cash circulation in the country is still trying to find its balance. And people at the moment now, they don't get a lot of people coming to deposit money in the banks. Most people who come to the banks are coming to withdraw. So if you said they can go ahead and start paying 500,000 naira cash to people who are the people that are coming to deposit the money, so they can, keep up with or sustain that level of paying like 500,000 naira out. So that's why the banks will have to bring down the money, how much that people can withdraw at the moment to 20,000 and 10,000 naira thereabouts.
Okay, let's look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. Subsidy removal plan raises anxiety as Labour breaks rank. The writer starts with Labour not aware of palliative talks on subsidy and Pengassin OK subsidy removal. NLC resists deadline. Don't impoverish masses. ASCSN charges new government. Palliative committee yet to harmonize positions 1 year after. Ngige, an incoming administration to propose pay rise, bear palliative burden. That's the last on that particular headline. PDP obeys court order, replaces Ayu with Damagum. This is also a major story this morning. Almost every paper is carrying it. 1 year after Kaduna government releases personal belongings to train attack victims. That is the Abuja Kaduna train attack victims right now. So 1 year after Kaduna government releases personal belongings to the train attack victims. This is on page 20. Above the major caption, Labour suspends strike, CBN picketing to monitor cash flow for 2 weeks. Okay, let's see if they can really, monitor. Doguwa's case file no longer with police. That's on page 4. Lastly, Tinubu cancels 71st birthday colloquium for national prayer. Yesterday is the birthday of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that is the last story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Do well to call us 0700 1021 1021. We're streaming live on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM, on Twitter High Impact 1021 FM. You can send us a WhatsApp message 0907 224 5018.
And now off the stories making the rounds on front page of the Punch newspaper. Suspension. Are you heads for court as PDP appoints acting chair? And you have two writers. So that story says, are you wants court to overturn suspension? Damagum to run party pending judgment. And PDP recorded worst electoral outing under RU. Embattled chair weak. Gone for good. That's coming from the G5 governors. You get that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Now moving up to the topmost section of the Punch newspaper, court cases won't stop handover to Tinubu Shetima, says federal government. You get that story on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. Stop fuel subsidy. Revive refineries. Pengassin tells government. Stop fuel subsidy. Revive refineries. Pengassin tells government. Labour shelves strike, gives CBN fresh 2-week ultimatum. You get that story on page 43. of the Punch newspaper. Now let's go to other stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Federal government to $22 billion loan request rejected. That's coming from reps. Federal government $22 billion loan request rejected. That's according to members of the House of Representatives. You get our story on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. Zenith Bank grows gross earnings by 24% to 945.5 billion naira. Then Ramadan, Yobe reduces working hours for civil servants.
That's thoughtful.
On page 41. And rampaging Ogun kidnappers kill 2, abduct couple. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. And 1 dies, 7 injured as fire guts Lagos market. That's on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Those are the stories making the rounds on front page of the Punch newspaper.
0700-1021-1021. That's the number to call. What is your top story for today? Do well to let us know. 0907-224-5018. That is the number to send us a WhatsApp message. And we're streaming live on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM. You can leave a message in the comments, or you can leave a message on the Twitter space High Impact 1021 FM. On the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, Abuja Kaduna train says 1 year after attack, full services yet to resume. How security operatives averted another attack is one of the riders. The second rider says train lacks central lock, poses new security risk. That's according to sources. Deploying more technology, and that's according to the victims. And this is on page 4 on the Daily Trust newspaper. I remember that Krumale spoke to a security expert yesterday, and this was one of the focus of the conversation, the Abuja Kaduna train attack.
Yes.
Well, I'm seeing that they should deploy more technology, and well, it would be good to see a train service really in Nigeria that has more technology. But away from that, Lassa fever kills 142 persons in 23 states in 11 weeks. This should be looked into very, very seriously. Woman gives birth in bandits' den, baby killed, mom freed. Now, that is quite disturbing. NLC issues 2-week fresh ultimatum over cash scarcity. Subsidy removal, Buhari's government hands off palliative implementation. Above the major caption, PDP crisis, how NWC sacked IU despite resistance. NNPC to raise crude reserves to 50 billion naira barrels, explores Nasarawa oil field. That is all we can take on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Do well to let us know what your top story is for today.
And off to stories making the rounds on front page of the Vanguard newspaper. PDP crisis, are you out? Damagum named acting chairman. PDP crisis, are you out? Damagum named acting chairman. And that's the first story. Queues disappear as banks increase cash payouts to customers. That's on the Vanguard newspaper. 10th National Assembly. We've become onlookers in selection process. That's coming from the APC National Working Committee. National Working Council, rather. Still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, United States lawyer Bruce Fein, new British envoy to meet over Kanu's release. And 39 passengers die in Niger and Bauchi Kebbi auto crash. And Guba Pools, people living with disabilities tell their story. That's also in connection with the recently concluded National Assembly and federal government, presidential, National Assembly, gubernatorial, and State House of Assembly elections. Moving on, Baja, Akeredolu, others eulogized Tinubu at 71. And Those are the stories making the rounds in front page of the Vanguard newspaper.
Do well to let us know your top story this morning. 0700-1021-1021. That's the number to call. 0907-224-5018. That's the number to send a message. Yes, we are live on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM, on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM. We have a message this morning. It says, "Good morning, my anchors. Please stop saying the cash crunch has eased off. You're in the studio enjoying AC and coffee. We are still suffering it. My question is, do we have NLC in Nigeria?" I'm Ikoku Emeka from Ikuano, Abia State. So, first, Emeka, I would say that since Monday, when we come on air, we ask people to tell us what is going on in their area so that we can say it out loud. And your experiences. So we are telling you that around this axis in Lagos, it has eased off, and based on the feedback from this community, it has eased off. But if you don't send us this message, we won't know what is going on in your area. And this is also for everyone listening to us. If it has not eased off, let us know. So, Emeka, is it that it has not, you are still suffering it in Abia State, where you are sending us this message from? I guess you're watching online. So let us know, if you're listening to us and you are in the same situation with Emeka, so that we don't pass the public narrative out there when it is different from what is going on around, so that there's a balance, okay? But frankly speaking, people in this space say that they've been able to get at least the old notes. So do well to let us know yours, and thank you for sending that message. It says we are drinking coffee. Which are you taking coffee, Kromale? I'm not aware of any. But we're due for a break now. We would like to discuss some of these headlines with our guests. Let's take a break. When we come back, the newspaper review continues. To stay with us.
Let's bring the party to you in your comfort zone. Food, drinks, music, and all kinds of fun fare are now available for fun lovers on Aria Express. Every Saturday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. only on High Impact 102.1 FM.
Well, this Saturday, they will know we show up. Me, I am ready for the party. Oh yeah, I want to be smart. I go really early. Oh, I know your story.
What did you do when you got that Easter break off work last year? Nothing? What about the year before? Same old nothing? Take this as your cue to snap out of that boring routine. Be extra about your Easter this season. Come make delightful and unforgettable memories with your family and friends at High Impact Amusement Park. From the 7th of April to the 10th of April 2023, everything will be perfectly curated to create extreme Easter excitement. Good food and drinks, fun games for adults and children, a fully functional gym, service departments, and a lounge. All in a safe and secure environment. The best part is, when you buy 2 access tickets, you get 1 access ticket completely free. Yes, 1 access ticket free. Vouchers for games can be purchased at the park. For more inquiries, call these numbers: 0814-229-9509 or 0812-271-4373. You simply don't want to be left out. Terms and conditions apply. High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resorts, destination of choice.
The news.
Welcome back. It's the newspaper review, reaching you live from our studios at High Impact 102.1 FM. Now we are being joined by Sheson Okwade. Good morning, Mr. Sheson. Welcome to the newspaper review.
Esther, and good morning to all our listeners this morning. A beautiful Wednesday morning.
Yes, a beautiful Wednesday morning to you too, Mr. Sheson. Now, when we look at the... Let me start with a little bit of politics this morning, Mr. Sheson, and it's on the front page of the Punch newspaper, and it says suspension. Are you heads for court as PDP appoints acting chairman? Did you see this coming?
Well, I did not see it coming, but I have to state this, that a politician, either of the parties, begs of the same feather, and they act the same way. IU was suspended based on inter-party politics, and I can tell you for free that on every sphere, people actually did that during this last election, and it's part of what some of us have been saying, the lack of ideology and what each party stands for make room for cross-carpeting. You can be in a party in the morning, you drink breakfast, take breakfast with them and coffee, like one of your guests said that you and Esther are doing. In the afternoon, you will take lunch with another party, and they'll be taking dinner with another one within the same day. And it's because there is lack of ideology on the part of the party. If you look at the developed client, what you see is that if you see a Democrat, you know that even their way of life shows that they are Democrat.
Yes.
You see a Republican, their way of life shows that they are Republican. And it's difficult for you to amend them. We know some that are conservative. We know those that are other side. But here, that ideology does not stand the test of time with some of the parties. So you can be there and you'll be working for the other party to actually favor you.
Okay.
But that's what we've seen in this client. And I don't know.
Yeah, Mr. Cheson.
It might continue.
Yes, Mr. Cheson. Now, this embattled chairman, according to his traducers or those who are, the G5 governors, that this fight between the G5 governors and the position of the chairman was part of the reason why the elections didn't favor the PDP. Did you buy that?
Yeah, I think part of what the G5 gave down was that the presidential candidate must come to the southern part.
Yes.
And it was on that premise they stood their ground against the candidate of PDP, the former Vice President Atiku.
Yes.
So, what I could not understand is if you have challenged the man on the premise that there was anti-party, and the party that won, or the party that we can acclaim the work for, is what the G5 were actually fighting for. It gives me kind of confusion on my part to say, if you are supporting somebody outside, why are you not supporting that within your party, which gives internal democracy problem that we're talking about. So for me, I think the basis at which they were fighting was what still stood their ground, and now that they've actually excused him to possibly step down, maybe we might have a party that will be formidable enough to be an opposition to the current administration, like they did to them years back before 2015.
Mr. Cheson, you mentioned internal democracy, and I can see PDP recorded worst electoral outing under IU as one of the riders we have here, and that this is the G5 saying that PDP recorded worst electoral outing under IU and Battle Chair Week gone for good. Is it IU really that will be blamed for the outcome of what PDP had or recorded during these past elections? You think IU is enough to be blamed? Don't you think that at least people's maybe mindsets have shifted from one particular party or these two forces that have been in power for a very long time?
I will state that IU is to be blamed. And I'll give you this practical example.
Okay.
You and Kumali are on air. If there's any issue that happens now, your chairman will not call you and Kumali directly. I'm sure they will call your head of department, or possibly the GM or the MD managing, to say what suddenly happened. If there is failure, it is the leader that is held responsible. And when there are achievements, they take the glory. So as far as we are concerned, it's IU that is responsible for that failure. The one outside the scope, they feel that the other party that came up as a movement shouldn't have happened if they've consolidated and have a good internal democracy. I'm sure you know Obi left, Kwakwaso left, which actually divided their vote. If those guys were actually managed and they were actually part of that party, I can tell you that they would have given APC a ride for their money, and it wouldn't be an easy thing. But because they left, they divided. Imagine all the Southeast was claimed by the Labour presidential candidate, which is a strong base for PDP. Look at Kano, is a strong base for PDP, with Kwankwaso bringing NNPP to
on
bear.
board.
So if they have had their internal democracy worked out well for them, and they are able to produce a Southern presidential candidate, I think it would have given them an edge. And that's why they said he actually was responsible for the cost, because he backed down on their agreement of having a Southern presidential candidate.
Okay, let's move away from politics now. Let's talk about subsidy removal plans. The Guardian newspaper started with that this morning. Subsidy removal plan raises anxiety as Labour breaks rank. I mean, we've been hearing about this removal plan for quite some time, but it seems that we've forgotten it and moved on to elections and many other things. But now it is in the news and it is raising anxiety. Frankly speaking, do you think anything is going to change? Do you think this current administration would make a difference? Since President Buhari now, who is going to be leaving office by May, he's from the APC. The president-elect is from the APC. Do you think that really there's much going to change when he comes into power?
Well, some of us have been an advocate of the removal of the subsidy.
Okay.
And let me use a street language that says, die not die. All of us go happen. Whatever we be, would definitely be, because we have not seen the benefits of having this subsidy. It seems to be what some of them in power do say, that is a scam. And looking at some of the development in the area of Dangote refinery coming up, we were being told that Port Harcourt refinery is to come on stream to act in 100% performance. We want to believe that the issue of importation of fuel will definitely be minimal, and that will reduce the cost, kind of not too marginal. It will be marginal, not too wide, but definitely it's going to ease the pressure of on foreign exchange, which have its own impact on the economy globally. At least we'll see some of the byproduct of what we get from the crude if we refine locally to take care of certain things in terms of bitumen, fertilizer, and some other things which will contribute to the economy on the larger part. So for me, removing the subsidy has been something we've been advocating for. But be it as it may, Labour is supposed to be a strong force protecting the interest of the workers.
People, yes.
But the truth of the matter is, they are always reactive to issue. Now the new administration is coming in. In the last 1 year, like we heard, this thing has been in the limelight. But have we seen Labour engaging government, possibly on monthly basis to let them know, okay, this removal, you said it times to that number that you want to remove. What are the measures? The cushion effect that you promised, how much of it have you worked on the refinery? What is the position of things? I'll be reporting back to know the progress. But we've not seen that. But the incoming administration have said is something that they are going to do, because this current administration already, from the budget that was presented and signed by the president, the subsidy is going to end by May, and by June, it's in the hands of the new administration. So I feel that the Labour, who we count to be the spokesperson of the masses, should have been engaging the government. It's over 18 months
but
that
the
this information was given.
The Labour is saying that they are not aware of palliative talks on subsidy, and I'm seeing this on the paper right now that there's a palliative committee.
They cannot be telling us, Esther, permit me to, they cannot be telling us when we have actually put them in place to represent us. It is not now they should be coming to say they are not aware of the palliative. Have they asked the question, which meeting have we had them engage with this government? You don't come on a blank paper and be telling us. You see, one thing I've seen with some of these leaders, and that's what the politicians are doing. They win the sentiment of the people to themselves. Now that they are saying that they are not aware of it, who should be aware of it? Is it Kumali or me or you? They are leaders they are part of the government. Let's put it that way. They are part of the government because majority of them have strategic position as civil servant and some other area in the private sector. So you cannot be coming to tell us that you are not aware. Have you engaged the government in such a way that we will see that you are doing? Now they are coming out. Look at what they did in terms of a CBN. They came out and some of us faulted it that why did you wait this long? Why the implementation of that project was, they gave announcement. Did you engage the CBN who manages the monetary policy on the implication of this thing? Why do we come out reactive after people have lost their life, after people have actually, failed in their businesses? You are coming out that this must happen. So for me, I feel NLC should do more than what they are doing currently. Just be proactive to things, not reactive. We expect that after 18 months, this is the 16th month, we should have seen the traction of the progress that they have made with government. And by now we'll be talking of, are we going to support them either to go on the strike or certain things? But that we are not hearing. Just 2 months to the end of the administration after 16 months.
Permit me to butt in here. Now, let's talk about sincerity on the part of government. Government, after government, and of course, the current administration, when it came to power since 2015, has been mooting the idea also of removing fuel subsidy. But if we talk about sincerity, the government themselves, why they've been mooting this idea, it doesn't look like there is the political will and the sincerity on the part of the government to create the cushioning effect, to put things in place, to stop exporting the raw materials to be refined abroad and not refined in Nigeria. For the Nigerian refineries that are not in a perfect state of performance to refine the product locally. Fine, we are all banking on the new refinery that has been built somewhere in Lagos. But the thing is, what about the government-owned refineries? They seem not to be working at the moment. And also, when we take out this product to be refined abroad and we are shipping them back into the country, it looks like it has already defeated the removal of the fuel subsidy in its place, because that's going to contribute to the increase of the price. So it doesn't look like on the part of the government there's sincerity as well.
Kumali, part of it to say this, that the government may have the wish, but like you said, the will may not be there. I'm sure you know there are two different things.
Yes.
I wish that all our refinery, and we are going to work to make it happen. But when you look at the approach to get those things achieved, you discover that their wishes, they are not really the commitment that you have to do. But there are ways that people go about to put what I'll put what we call like pressure group.
Yes.
Checkmating the activities of things that are going on. When you know there are people that are watching some of your promises and you are monitoring things effectively, you will change the tune of things. And that's what we saw in the last election. I'm sure you saw so many surprises happening and so many politicians, changing the wheel of things overnight when certain surprises started happening.
Yes.
Because we hardly talk. The people that are representative of the common man hardly talk. You discover that
let me butt in. But even when people talk, these civil societies, even when we talk, do they really listen and act accordingly? Does the government?
They may not act, my sister, but when they talking become persistent. Let me give you in the practical term, even in the private sector, when you yearn for increase in salary, you know your management can tell you, okay, we are working on it. The HR is liaising with the finance, looking at our revenue and this, and that can take 1 year if you keep quiet. But if on monthly basis the issue of we are going to downsize certain thing, if Kumali is strategic to them, you see them calling and say, Kumali, please, we are working on it. Every now and then you keep repeating the same thing. I'm sure if they are not going to increase by 50% to augment what they have said, they might see a slight. But if you say something and you go to bed to sleep, the leaders will just look at you that don't worry. They are enjoying it. It's just a reactionary thing from them. But I think it's not that bad the way they are painting it. But when you keep, hammering on it, and people talk from every angle, look at some of the things that have actually come to play during this election, even with INEC improving on their deliverable and their performance. It's because several people from them, several angles, were actually putting pressure on them day and night. The civil society, except that we are saying it on air, or maybe it's in the dailies, do we create time to discuss some of those things with some of the people that are supposed to? If this has not happened, will you see the Labour coming out to challenge what is actually happening on the part of what the government are doing? The answer is no. And that's why we keep saying that people are reactive. They are not proactive to issue. When government bring that policy, we should continue to checkmate it, have a timeline. If this is not done, look at the ultimatum that NLC gave CBN. Within 7 days, the cash policy was worked on, even though we don't have it all around, but there was improvement. And they said they are going to give another monitoring thing for 2 weeks. So there's a timeline. Ask me, Kumali and Esther, what is the timeline after we have the understanding 18 months ago that they are going to remove this policy? How many times have you discussed it on this particular station? I'm sure you know that if it's not in the headline, you may not be discussing it. So that's the gap that we feel that the force that is supposed to put pressure on the government are not doing rightly. And that's why they must stand up to it and let the government know that there is a voice that is always crying every week, every fortnight week, to make sure that everything that they've actually promised, they've done. Remember this administration. They promised us that the refinery was going to come to function because they were aware of it. How many of it has Labour engaged them on since their inception in 2015 till date? It's just once in a blue moon. You say we want to go on strike. How many times have we engaged them in terms of health facility on what they promised that it's going to be? We've not seen that. So Labour should come out and let them be that first that we know them to be, speaking on behalf of the masses.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheson. But let's look at it from another perspective. How would you assess the relationship between Nigerians and Labour? It looks as if Labour itself is not getting the kind of support that they are supposed to get from Nigerians. There are times where Labour itself will go nationally to declare that Nigerians and Nigerian laborers down tools, both in the private and in the public sector. But the thing is, it's like probably maybe the government itself does not really attach much significance to labor laws to the laws that govern both labor and the employers. So in private sector, if you don't go to the office, your boss can, and if he doesn't give you a query, you could even be laid off. In that particular case, when Labour is saying let's down tools, and Nigerians felt like, I better listen to my employer than Labour. It looks as if the actions of Nigerians themselves have whittled down the powers that Labour should be wielding. Because when you look at other climes, this is not what happens. When you hear the Labour Union is supporting or saying people should down tools, in fact, the employers start to shake and to tremble because they know that those laws hold sway there. So how can we make sure that replicates itself in our climb?
Kumali, I have to state this, that Labour actually created the problem themselves, and several of the Labour force, the workers, have lost confidence in them because of their past antecedents. I'm sure you are old enough to understand when Adams Oshiomhole was the NLC chair. In fact, that was what brought him to limelight.
Exactly.
He will hold the government to a fixed, whether you are private, whether you are public. When he gives an instruction and the labor chairman then, everybody adhere to it.
Even in the military administration.
Yeah, everybody adhere to it. Is to tell you the will on the part of the leaders. But what we have seen is that over time, after his exit, the labor force, the labor leaders, seems to have chickened out. And you know the average thing, a worker will say, don't mind them. They are fighting for their purses. That's why they are asking us to go on strike. We will not go. And because even the employer that you are complaining of, that will lay you off or give you query, I've not seen the impact. I'm sure you know, if the labor have worked effectively the way it should be on some of the things they are fighting for, it will affect the employer in the sense that improve their productivity and give a better lot even to the company. So there is no how they will not support them. But over time, because they've yielded to their call and it has not given them the desired result, so they decided to just ignore them when they give that clearing call. So I think the first aspect that Joe Ajaero and his team needs to do is to first have the reassurance and build the trust confidence of the people they are actually leading.
How is that?
Gap is there.
How would that happen exactly? How would he build that trust? Because I hear Labour say they want to take a strike. They want to call for a strike.
It is not by calling for strike.
No, but
there are few things that we need to do that the common man will have the impact of it without going on strike.
What are those things? I mean, they gave an ultimatum. They gave CBN 2 weeks, to normalize supply. I felt that with the cash crunch, this should have been like an opportunity for Labour to step in and, make a difference, because everyone was affected and it was obvious.
But do you know, sorry, Esther, to interject you, do you know that I faulted Labour? Were they not supposed to be part of that policy implementation to fight on your behalf and my behalf? Where were they? Where were they? Let's ask that question. They were part of the agency that CBN must consult, because your implementation of that policy will impact or affect an average worker on the road. It will affect an average, but they were not there until that policy was implemented. Even when the court gave an injunction, there was no, it was not obeyed. They were not there until several things has happened. That's when you are now reacting. But thank God that they gave 7 days ultimatum and there was a relax of the pressure on the part of CBN to act. And that's what we are saying, that don't let's wait until when issues got to the peak before you react. Be part of that policy. This announcement will definitely be made. I expected the Labour, the first day that they came with this issue of Naira redesign and implementation, to be on air to say, these 3 months you have given, federal government, the president, this will not work. We are standing in the gap for our workers who we know that the hardship will be on. And I'm sure there is no how a government will not listen to them. But do you see what has actually happened? They waited for several months, from October last year to March, until they reacted. And you want me as an employer to have confidence in such leadership? It doesn't work that way. You must be part of it from the beginning, and let's see your input to see how you can drive us better. Then we'll have that confidence when you call that we should downturn, and definitely we will obey.
Okay, Shesom, because of our time, I would have really loved to go on and on this conversation, especially with the matter of the subsidy removal, because Pengassin seemed to be making a strong statement asking the government to stop fuel subsidy and revive refineries. But it looks like this is going to be on the news for some time. But something happened yesterday, and I really would love that we talk about it. Orji Uzor Kalu officially met the president in a closed-door meeting to inform him President Muhammadu Buhari to inform him of his intention to run for the president of the Senate if the APC zones the position to the southeast. And following the reaction both on air, on social media, I realized that, I mean, even his people do not want him to go there. I mean, people from his state. So, first, how do you see that move from the part of Orji Uzor Kalu, and really they want to zone in this thing about zoning, inclusiveness in politics, and all of that? Do you really think that he can achieve this? I mean, this his plan?
I'm sure you know the Senate President is the number 3 man on the call for the nation.
Yes.
And if you look at it, we've already know where the president is coming from, where the vice president is coming from, and it's just morally right to give other region that advantage of becoming it. So I think it's on that ground he's approaching the leader of the party, which is currently the President Muhammadu Buhari, to show his intention. If your people are saying they don't want you, because you know there are criteria. You don't get a first-timer to become Senate President. So you must have been part of the session, system, seeing how they are doing. That's where we can bring you up. And it seems to be one of the qualified people from that region, at least, that can represent them. But if his people are saying that it's not, I don't think there's anything on our part that we need to do. If the government yield to it, they should remember that plus or minus, they are changing themselves again. Because the house that is divided against itself cannot move on. So if you are saying that other region might take advantage of it, don't forget the way Southeast are clamoring for it, South are clamoring for it. And we have somebody like Akpabio, who is also, strategically positioned from the south.
It's going to be a very strong contention.
Strong contention. So if Orji is trying to woo and come into that area, and his people are saying they don't want him, I think when you give such a counter reaction to it, there must be a solution. Who else are you projecting that can represent that region? Because it must go to that side. And if they are yielding it and they are not united within themselves to present someone, I can tell you, another region will take advantage of it and they will say they are being marginalized. So it's something that they must think deeply. For me, that's politics. You woo people when you know, even when you know you are qualified for a position. The way it goes in politics, you know, in office setting, it might be on merit, but in politics, you have to woo individuals that will definitely support and vote for you.
Yeah, Mr. Ashesa, sorry to button, but because of our time, before we let you go, let me ask this question still in regards to Mr. Orji Uzor Kalu. Do remember that the people from the southeastern part of the country are not going to participate in voting. The senators elect are going to participate in the voting. So even if whether they want him or not, it seems it is almost irrelevant. So
what their opinion
is. Yes.
No, their opinion is not irrelevant. Why
completely.
Do I say so?
It's not completely irrelevant.
Not completely irrelevant.
Do I say so? I'm sure you know the people there are representing the masses.
Yes.
So some of them might want to dance to the tune, even though they have internal whatever they want to play. My hide under that our people, my people that I'm representing, say no to you. And I must obey what they are saying, so I may not vote for you. So that's where, in these things, that's where you see, politicians will be together when he's going to favor them. If there are individuals too from that region that have issues with Orji, they already have a platform at which they will excuse it. See, I love to vote for you, Kumale, but you know, I've been called by my people that I'm representing. I don't want them to recall me, even when he knows they can't recall him. On that premise, I think I'll be speaking the mind of my people to vote against you. And that's why I say don't rule out completely the voice of the people clamoring that they don't want him to represent them. I know there will be internal politicking, with the senators that will go
Yes,
there
because it is
say,
purely almost 90% internal politicking by senators. And I think... Okay, I think Mr. Ashe, sorry that I caught you short there, but sorry, our time is fast spent.
No problem.
And thank you so much for your time with us this morning. It's been excellent.
Thank you very much for having me, Kumali. And Esther, a very beautiful day. I'll pick up my cake later in the day with you. Have a wonderful day.
And you
You too. Wow, that was a lot. That was a whole lot, and a very insightful conversation with Sheson Okunade. I really wish we could go on and on about the cash situation, but sometimes it is beautiful to hear it from the outside. Talking about the subsidy, I see it as something that would move, that would be in the news for some time. This thing about attention moving from security to fuel scarcity to cash crunch to politics. No, not before politics, maybe to registration. In fact, there was a time that NIN was always in the news.
Yes.
At another time, maybe census. Now it seems like we're about to start recycling what was in the news before.
Yes.
And we've gotten back to the talk on subsidy removal or not. And this is a good time to test the manifesto of those that have just been elected.
Well, at the moment, for those that have been elected, their manifesto is going to be the handbook of Nigerians.
Yeah,
at this moment, they have it in their hands, and they are monitoring the government's work, the government's program, the government's policies, and how they are implementing those policies. If what they are doing is at variance with what is inscribed in their policy and their manifestos, Nigerians should rise up and call them to order, because I think we have gotten to that place where we need to hold both the leaders accountable in the sense that, okay, you promised us XYZ.
Yeah.
And that is what you're going to do.
This thing about always speaking and always talking, it's bringing another sense of, responsibility here, so that it's not just we're not just doing it as a job, but we're now doing it as a form of sensitization, as a form of social service. We're doing it to make these people remember that they are accountable to us. But Krumala, it's been a long conversation and a very, very insightful one, I must say, on the newspaper review this morning. I want to thank everyone who have sent a message, who tried to call, and who has listened. So far, so good. Thank you for staying tuned, and thank you for listening. My name is Esther Kalu. It's been a long ride on the show today, but Krumala has On Record coming on later at 9 a.m. and he's going to tell us more.
Yes, I will. I'm Oyin Priya Krumale. Join me again at 9 a.m. for On Record. Good morning.
Join us Mondays to Fridays at 7:05 a.m. to 8 a.m. for freshly baked stories on the newspaper review at High Impact 102.1 FM. Follow us on social